All right, ladies and gentlemen. What a crowd tonight. Who's ready to turn the page on Greg Abbott? All right. My name is State Representative Rafael Lanchia, and I've been proud to represent this community for 18 years in the Texas legislature. So welcome to District 103. We have a lot of really important people in the crowd tonight. I'm just going to mention some in my introductions. Please hold your applause until we've recognized all of our special guests. And the first guest I want to recognize, so hey, don't sit down yet, is our Dallas County Clerk, John Warren. You guys are really good at following directions. Ain't that right, Jenny? So then we also have Dallas County Constable Precinct 5, Michael Orozco. We've got Bill Peterson, Texas 5th Court of Appeals. We've got Sandra Jackson, 302nd District Court, Dallas County. Dallas City Councilman for this area, Jesse Moreno. The Mayor Pro Tem of Glen Heights, Sonia Brown. Where's Sonia? All right. Former Dallas County Sheriff and former candidate for Texas Governor, Lupe Valdez. Former Dallas City Council member, Ricardo Medrano. Former Farmers Branch City Councilwoman, Ana Reyes. Ana? Candidate for House District 103, Liz Ginsburg. We've got candidate for Texas Comptroller, Janet Dudding. Janet's back over here. Candidate for Texas House District 98, Shannon Elkins. Candidate for U.S. Congress District 5, Tartisha Hill. Candidate-elect for House District 100, Venton Jones. All right. And we have Chief of the Dallas County Democratic Party, the great Christy Noble. And Texas Democratic Party State Democratic Executive Committee, Senate District 16, that is Michael McPhail. Michael. Well, listen, I'm going to make it quick, ladies and gentlemen, because you need to hear from a lot of people tonight. But look, if you're ready to change the page on Greg Abbott's Texas, let's make some noise. Because in Greg Abbott's Texas, a rapist could walk into this room, find a woman, select the mother of his child, and Greg Abbott and Ken Paxton would force that woman, the victim of rape, to carry that child to term. No! Because in Greg Abbott's Texas, convicted felons, criminals, can get guns without background checks. We say no! And in Greg Abbott's Texas, some of the most vulnerable people in our society, trans children and their families, are being attacked by the full weight of state government as child abusers. We say no. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's my extreme good fortune today to be with a lot of great people, including my colleague in the state legislature and somebody we need to help win this November, and that is the great State Representative Julie Johnson.
I want to extend a big welcome to my really good friend, Better O'Rourke, to LGBTQ Dallas. Woo! Look at this. Look at this crowd. You know, we are showing up today, and I'm so excited because you know why? We have some of the most to lose this election. Everyone in this room, we are under attack. You, me, my wife, our family, our friends. We are on the menu this upcoming legislative session, so we better be at the table to vote. So my question to you is, how many of you have not yet voted? Raise your hand. There's a bunch. Come on, admit it. So let me tell you, this is what we're going to do. After this is over, wait, hold on now. After this is over, the polls are open until 9 o'clock. It's a block down the street. We can all walk. Can you imagine procession, all of us walking as a big, gay, beautiful group, marching our happy selves to the polls, screaming, Beto, 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 we're gonna, damn it, win, right? Okay, we're gonna do that after this is over. So this is the thing. We've got to elect Beto O'Rourke, but we also must elect Mike Collier to the lieutenant governor. If I have to see Dan Patrick walking through the Texas Capitol one more day, it's going to hurt. We need somebody in the Senate who's actually going to pass a lot of the good stuff that my good friend Rafael and Chia and I get to work on in the House. And so with that, what are we going to do? I want on three, we're all going to say, gay people vote. Okay? 1, 2, 3. Gay people vote! All right. Put that out on social media. Let every politician in this state know that we mean business, our vote matters, and we're going to deliver some punishment for this past session at the ballot box right now. With no further ado, Mike Collier.
Thank you. Let me start with a question. Does anybody here cherish democracy? Do you believe in civility? Do you believe in justice? That's how I know I'm in the company of Democrats. Hello, Texas Democrats. How are you? My name is Mike Collier, and my job is to kick Dan Patrick's ass. You going to help me? Are you going to help me? Are you going to help me? And we're going to elect Democrats all up and down the ballot because they are rotten. Do you agree? Oh, it's going to be such a sweet day. Now, just imagine for a second what happens when we elect Democrats to statewide office and all the other positions. What are we going to do? We're going to have great public education. Who's for public education? We're going to stop getting ripped off on taxes. I want you to know something, Dan Patrick. I'm Dan Patrick's worst nightmare. I'm a Democrat. I'm an auditor. I get lied to for a living. I'm coming after you, Dan Patrick. Right? And we're going to expand Medicaid. Who thinks we should expand Medicaid? Healthcare is a fundamental human right. Do you agree with me? Healthcare is a fundamental human right. And it's about time we live that value. And we're going to start by expanding Medicaid. Right, Julie? I got news for you. I got spies all over the Capitol. They tell me even Republicans are ready to expand Medicaid. It's just Dan Patrick who says no. So we're going to say to you, Dan Patrick, no, you're fired. You're out of here. And then we'll expand Medicaid. And then we're going to fight for criminal justice reform. We're going to use a new word around here, restorative justice. Are you with me on that? We got far too many young men and women sitting in prison, profit prisons, which is bad, bad, bad. And they haven't done anything violent, first-time offense, didn't do anything worse than any one of us might have done in college, except they don't have somebody to bail them out. So we're going to solve that problem, and we're going to legalize marijuana. Who wants to do that? I like that. Now, I'll share a little confession. When I ran against El Diablo last time, I tiptoed around marijuana. You know why? My poor mother and father were still living, and I didn't want to go back over me and UT in the 70s. We weren't going to talk about that. But now I can tell you, I felt like we should legalize marijuana ever since Pink Floyd released his second album. Right? Right? The young people say, Pink what? Those are things you're going to do. And we're going to fix the damn grid, right? I think we ought to fix the damn grid, don't you? So there's a lot that we're going to do, and I'll tell you what else we're going to do. Democrats are going to answer the call, and we're going to fight for democracy, and we're going to fight for our rights, right? Like the right to vote. You agree? And to have your vote count, right? And for the LGBT community, the right to live and love as you wish in freedom. and the right for women, anybody in this state who gets pregnant, to make the decision that only you can make about your health care, about your life, and about your destiny. That's what we're going to do, and that's why we're going to win. So let's get out there and let's win this. I'm supposed to introduce somebody, and I want to know. Okay, good. Well, I'm going to tell one story. Oh, I'm so excited. I just want to tell one story before I go. Later, you're going to hear from a fellow named Beto, bright young man. He's going to go a long way. And we're out burning it up around the great state of Texas. And I want to share a story from the campaign trail. I was out in West Texas, and I was looking for some Republicans to talk to. Where do you find Republicans? So I went to a cattle auction. You ever been to a cattle auction? I mean, Republicans everywhere. All right, step one. Now I got to get their attention. So what do? I look around for something to jump up on. And I find a big old pile of dirt. Or so I thought it was dirt. Oh, I jumped up and I got their attention. A crowd gathered. I was sinking. It smelled horrible. But I had work to do. And I told them that we need to have criminal justice reform. And we need to fix the damn grid. And we need to protect a woman's right to choose. And I said the rest. And they all listened. And finally an old boy looked at me and he said, "Hey, Mike." He said, I never thought I'd stop and listen to a Democrat and make a stump speech. I said, I never thought I'd give one from a Republican platform. And that's the way that went down. So let's go out there and win, all right? Mike Collier for Lieutenant Governor. Now, I'm finished. Don't worry, I'm done. But it is my distinct pleasure and honor to introduce a woman who does not need an introduction, not only in North Texas, where she served for years and years, but the whole state and the whole country, who is my icon of service and integrity and passion for what's best for the people in the great state of Texas, and we're going to miss her service terribly. Your Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson.
Good evening, Democrats. I came to give you a message. I just came from a therapy session, so I'm not going to do therapy on you. I came to say that we have all worked hard, and I want to thank all of you who have done whatever you have done. I don't know what it's been, actually, but whatever it's been, it's appreciated. But I also came to tell you that we have until 7 o'clock next Tuesday to make sure we get these votes out. And I'm depending on you to do it because if you came out here tonight, you're interested. We've got to do it. This is all of our futures. We can't go to good people every election and beg them to run and then not get the vote out for them. We got a superb ballot statewide. We've got good candidates all over counties. Are we going to let them down? Well, we got work to do. We're behind. The only way that you can come ahead is to put the energy out there to get ahead. So let's do it. It is not just about us. It's about our state. It's about our future. It is about my great-grandchildren and their children. We have got to do this. We have got to do it. So pledge to yourself that you're going to do much more than you've done between now and 7 o'clock next Tuesday. We're not just depending on those people that got the names on the ballot. Those are the banner carriers for us. Those are the leaders for this battle. We are the ones who will benefit. Work like you're doing it for you, because that's what you're doing it for. Work like you work because you know the future depends on it. You see where we're going with this present administration. You see the attitudes going on in this country. We're the ones who can turn it around. Don't depend on anybody else. We got to do it for ourselves. I don't even know who the leaders are here. I see somebody with a sign now and then. But whoever you are, keep doing whatever you're doing if you're doing anything. because we got to get the vote out. Nobody's touched base with me, but I hope you've touched base with a whole lot of other people, because I have voted, and I've taken about 28 people to the polls, and I will continue to do that. People sitting around doing nothing. Oh, election's coming up? Yes. Election is upon us. Let's go vote right now. There are so many people that have not been able to see the difference, that they're indifferent. We have to tell them what the difference is. We see the differences that have taken place under this current regime. We feel it. We're in touch every day. But there are people who are so far from it that they think it's going to be the same no matter what. Who are they depending on for the message and leadership? It is all of us. We can't just depend on people who got the names on the ballot. They're dependent on us. Come on out. I want everybody in here to pledge to get at least 15 more people to the polls who have not voted, that would not vote without your effort. Let's do it. We owe it to our state. We owe it to the future of this nation. I'm depending on you. All right? Is that a deal? Let's get out here and get people out.
How's everybody doing? Good to see you. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for being with us. Let's hear it for Eddie Bernice Johnson and this message of fighting for one another. Everything that we've got with everything that we've got, right? You all with me? Thank you all for being with us. Listen, I don't know how many more times before Tuesday at 7 o'clock I'm going to get to be back here in Dallas, okay? Maybe a couple of times, I don't know. But for the better part of this last year, and for those of you who are with us going back to 2017, for the better part of the last 5 years, you all have been fucking amazing. And I just want to say thank you for everything that you've been doing. It's extraordinary. So much effort, so much sweat, so much faith in one another and what this state can do. Not accepting the status quo as our permanent future, fate, or fortune, but knowing that we have the power together to make this better. I love you too. Listen. Important service announcement. The Oak Lawn Library has voting that goes until 9 o'clock tonight, okay? So for any of us or our friends or those 15 people that EBJ just asked you to get in touch with, let's make sure that we take them to the library. In fact, after I finish speaking, we're going to do a couple of interviews with the press, and then I'm going to walk over there maybe with Mike Collier and Julie and Rafael and Chia and EBJ, and we're going to shake the hands of every voter who has cast their ballot. You all want to join us? All right, we'll make it a party. Are you allowed to drink beer on the streets in Dallas? No? Okay. Well, drink the beer here, and then we'll go out and we'll go shake the hands of all those people who voted in this election. Hey, I'm not just talking the talk. I walked it earlier. I voted back in El Paso, Texas. I got my I vote sticker on right here. I got to vote with my wife, Amy, with Cynthia Cano, the leader of our show, with my mom, Melissa. It felt so good to finally cast that ballot. It feels so good to be in this fight and to doing all we can with what we have, where we are right now at this defining moment of truth. Because the alternative is to succumb to despair and to just accept things as they are, as the way they will be forever going forward. And I'm not about that, right? There is no way that we can accept the status quo in Texas today. As our future lieutenant governor will remind us, that grid that is so badly broken killed 700 of our fellow Texans last February. And while they were dying and freezing in their homes, the governor, Greg Abbott, pegged the price of electricity at its highest allowable rate. That meant that gas soon started trading at 200 times what it had sold for the day before. His best friends
and top campaign contributors, their corporations made billions of dollars in profit while we were freezing to death in our homes. To add insult to injury, that grid is still not fixed. We're paying some of the highest electricity bills anywhere, and we're no better prepared going into this winter than we were in that one. But there's an answer to that. First things first, we get out there and vote. We win this election. We winterize, weatherize every part of that grid. We connect ERCOT to the national grid so we can draw down power when we need it. And then for those who stole $11 billion from us over 5 days in February, we are taking those bastards to court and getting every penny back for the people of Texas. You all with me? We're going to bring down your utility bills while we join Mike in fixing the grid. Yesterday, I got to be with the families in Uvalde again. And I know that all of you are thinking about all of them. 21 families who lost the most important person to them in their lives. 21 families who were honoring those family members' legacy at a Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead ceremony in the cemetery, where Cynthia, Chris, and John and I were able to join those families who were making these ofrendas to their 10-year-old daughters and sons right there. And they were asking me, why in the world am I doing this right now? Why does Texas lead the nation in the number of school shootings? Why has it been 23 weeks since those 19 children and their 2 beautiful teachers were taken from us? And this governor has done not a thing to make it any less likely that any child in any other classroom meets the same fate as those kids. Well, we've got an answer to that as well. We win this election, and then we prioritize the lives of our kids over the interests of the NRA or the gun lobby or anybody else. We do the common sense things that we find on the common ground between us. And listen, I just got to tell you, being with those families yesterday, there is a level of courage and heroism that I can only begin to imagine what it must be like for them. They would be forgiven if they never wanted to show their faces in public again, if they wanted to have nothing to do with our politics that had so badly failed them and their kids. And yet they are out there leading on this issue, knowing full well they'll never get their kids back, but they might be able to save the lives of our kids. If those families can do everything that they're doing right now, we can certainly do our part. You with me? I think about those 2 teachers in Uvalde who, though they'd sacrificed the best years of their lives already for those kids, never earning enough not to have to work a second or third job, Irma and Eva literally ended up sacrificing their lives for those kids in those classrooms on that day. I think about these teachers. I have one right here who says, this teacher voted for Beto, so did her wife. You all are my heroes. You are doing the toughest job at one of the hardest times to do it. And I know that because you've told me. You talked about what it's like to be in that classroom, that counselor's office, that library after 2 years of learning loss, 2 years of pandemic, 2 years of trauma where this state has lost the lives of 100,000 of our fellow Texans. These kids, in some cases, have lost their grandparents. Their folks have lost their jobs. Their family have lost their homes. And that teacher in that classroom is literally keeping that kid alive right now. Well, listen, we've got to say something better than thank you for your service. Although we are grateful, we have to back that up with actions. So when we win, we make sure that those teachers are paid enough not to work a second or a third job, just one job, focusing on those kids in front of them. Retired teachers who haven't seen a cost of living adjustment since the year of our Lord 2004 should get one every year going forward so they don't have to work 2 jobs into their retirement. And to give them more valuable classroom time back with those kids, let's cancel the STAR test in the state of Texas. It in no way measures the potential of those children or the effort that those teachers are expending on their behalves. For our veterans, for every woman and man who's put their lives on the line for this country, I want you to know this. We are grateful for your service, but we are embarrassed by the fact that in this state, the 9th largest economy on the planet today, There will be veterans sleeping on the side of the road, on park benches, underneath bridges right now. I say this, after we win, we spare no expense, we pay any price, we bear whatever burden necessary to make sure there's a roof over the head of every single veteran in Texas who has served this country. For those who've come back from Iraq and Afghanistan and were exposed to these toxic burn pits, we take a lesson learned from the Vietnam era generation who had to wait 40 years for their exposure to Agent Orange to be treated as a presumptive condition for the cancers that they were dying from. 40 years before this country lifted a finger to help them and do the right thing. We will not wait 40 years in Texas for this generation. We are standing up a toxic burn pit registry right here in the state of Texas. And when those veterans who are able to go to the VA, when they come back and they say to us, look, the doctor at the VA is all too willing to prescribe an opioid to which I may become addicted. And from that addiction, I may die, as tens of thousands of our fellow Americans have. There's something else I can use that relieves my symptoms, restores my appetite, allows me to sleep at night. But in this state, I'm a criminal in the eyes of the law. So I say I join Mike. We're going to legalize marijuana in the state of Texas. But let me add this. Y además, we know that all Texans of all races and ethnicities use the stuff at the same rate. And given your response, I think that rate is a lot, right? Disproportionately, it is black and brown Texans who are stopped, who are frisked, who are incarcerated, who upon release have to check a box on every employment application form saying that they have that conviction for possession of a substance that's already legal in most of the rest of the country. So I'm going to work with you to make sure that we expunge the arrest records of everyone who has served time for possession of marijuana in the state of Texas. And on this democracy that we were talking about earlier, 246 years, más o menos, into this idea. What are you afraid of, buddy? What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? We can't hear you, man. There are some who are afraid of us. That's all right. That's all right. It's interesting and it's very telling. Just as we were about to start to talk about democracy, this guy tries to interrupt the conversation, right? So in this state that these extraordinary service members have put their lives on the line to defend this democracy and our Constitution that they swore an oath to protect and defend, not a person, not a politician, not even a president, but our form of government. Doesn't that make you want to work harder to win? Won't that feel so good when that guy is crying on November 8th? We'll see you later, buddy. You're not on the program. I want to make sure everybody's okay over here. She's okay? Are you okay? All right. She's okay. She got knocked over by that asshole, but she got back up, right? And that's what we got to do every single time. We're glad you're all right. All right, listen. On this issue of our democracy, nowhere is it under greater attack than it is right now in the state of Texas. Harder to cast a ballot, harder to get your name on the rolls to be registered to vote than anywhere else in the country today. That means that we've got to work that much harder to bring in those who are the very targets of suppression and intimidation and make sure that they have a chance to decide the outcome of this election. In Dallas County alone, there are 400,000 people, our friends, our family members, our neighbors, our classmates, our colleagues, 400,000 who were eligible to vote in 2020 but didn't cast a ballot. Since then, 130,000 new Texans have registered to vote just in Dallas County. That's 530,000 people. 530,000 people whose voices we have yet to hear, whose votes we have yet to count. Folks, we only lost to Cruz by 216,000 votes in 2018. The margin of victory is right here in this county, all right? But those folks are not going to vote just because we want them to. We've got to go out there and talk to them. And I'm asking you right now to sign up with our team. We've got folks in the high visibility, yellow reflective vests. If you all don't mind standing up and holding those clipboards. On those clipboards are open shifts to knock on doors, to meet those voters where they are. And listen, it'll be some pretty powerful, profound, poetic, political justice when the very people that they thought they had drawn out from our democracy, we bring in by being at their doors, and they form the margin of victory when we win this on election night. You with me? But we're going to need an all-hands-on-deck effort right now. We are in the closing days of this, and as some said earlier, we're not seeing the levels of turnout that we need to see. And it's those voters who need to hear from you right now. Number one reason given by them when pollsters ask, why didn't you vote in the last election, is no one asked me to vote in the last election. They are literally waiting to hear from you. If you sign up with us, I will put you on their doors, and your person-to-person, face-to-face, eyeball-to-eyeball conversation, that's the thing that brings them in and allows us to win this on election night. You all ready? You willing to do this work with me? You want to win? We are going to win this election on November 8th. You all ready? All right, let's get it done. Thank you for coming out. We love you, Dallas. Les agradezco. Gracias. Thank you, thank you, thank you.